And we are live. Welcome to another episode of Chiropractic is Sexy. I am Dr. Paula Ruffin.
I'm Dr. Erica Peabody. Yeah, I was trying to stream it somewhere too. It won't let me do anything now, which is fine. All good.
Okay, cool. All right. So welcome to the show. It's another Thursday. And yes, Teal, I think they overturned the strike.
And we are back.
Yes, we're back.
We're bringing sexy back. Isn't there a song about that?
We are sexy. Yes. Sexy with an S, with an X. Yeah.
We got it. Yeah.
That was the.
How's everyone going? Like, what's happening over there?
You can't have a show. You can't have a channel with pornography. What? Did anybody
take a look at anything we're doing? Just health and wellness, life and living. We are here for it. How is everybody out there? Good to see the comments already. And welcome to the second half of 2026.
Whoop, whoop. Make sure you are hitting the thumbs up button and the subscribing, and you're doing all the things because that makes you healthier when you do that.
It does. And sexier.
And sexier. And everybody wants to be a little sexier. So hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. Yes.
Like, share, subscribe.
Yes, we did. Well, I had a great Independence Day celebration. I know we had friends in Canada. We have friends in the Bahamas. Everybody's celebrating independence all over the world. And so I hope everybody's celebrations were wonderful and safe. And that you're embracing your country's independence. So there's that. Listen, you guys, we have an exciting show today. Today, we're going to talk about the stress-spine connection and how chiropractic fits into that and what actually happens. There was a study. What do they call it when? Oh my gosh, I've been blanking all day. It wasn't a double blind. It's the study that takes. It's like a meta-analysis. So it's a study that takes all the studies and puts it all together in one study and reviews all the data of chiropractic. And so what's super cool, and I put the link to the study in the show notes. And this information, just to give a nod to where this comes from, we have just a powerhouse in chiropractic. Her name is Dr. Monique Andrews. And Dr. Monique goes out and she scours for studies, and then she provides those studies to chiropractors for us to be able to have these conversations, because as Dr. Erica and I have said many times before, that people come to us for neck and back pain. And we are happy to take you for neck and back pain. If that's how you enter a chiropractor's office, our doors are open and welcome in. And then when you get here, then we're going to talk to you about all the ways chiropractic actually helps beyond that. That is scratching the surface of what chiropractic can actually do for the human body and for your nervous system. So I think this is a really important topic, especially with our stressed out world and helping everybody get better regulated.
Yeah. I mean, I was reviewing parts of it, and I love that it took so many different studies and brought it all together. There's so many ways that, people will say something like, well, chiropractic isn't based on science, or it's not based. It's like, what are we even doing? Like, yes, it is. And I love when things like this come all the way together. First of all, we wouldn't all be out here practicing for 130 years, 131 years, if this wasn't like based in facts and reality and like anatomy and physiology and all of that. And some of the points in the study are just incredible about, obviously cortisol and stress management, but so many other things. And people find their way to our offices because of musculoskeletal stuff. We're awesome with that. We're the best out there for that. And so many people stay because they're like, oh, Also, I haven't been sick in years. Also, I haven't been, I'm a better mom, I'm a better dad, I'm a better athlete, I'm a better support system for everybody in my life. I'm a better employee, I'm a better all the things, because it's so broad. And using chiropractic for pain management only is like using your iPhone for just the text message only. That's just a fraction of what it does. So yeah, it's
Well, and I'll
awesome.
continue to remind people of years ago when my light bulb about, I'm in practice, and my light bulb about chiropractic went off. And I think this is super common because I don't think chiropractic students are taught really the depth of what chiropractic can do and how it can help the human body. And I also think that they probably, because it's a little ethereal in a sense, and there's tons of studies to support it, but it does feel a little ethereal. But then once they get into practice and you start seeing these shifts and changes, then you're like, oh, dang it. It's like actually seeing Santa Claus, Tio Mimo. So just
And brown cows.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
But if we just start thinking about this patient that I had, again, probably 20 years ago, who he came in, he was in pain, he had back pain, it was a standard back pain case, but he'd had it for a long time. Nothing was ever really helping. Finally comes to the chiropractor, tells me 6-8 weeks later that his wife was ready to divorce him. He had no idea what an a-hole he was being to his family because he was in so much pain. So yes, chiropractic made the pain go away, but it calmed his nervous system. It made him a better communicator. It made him be able to open his eyes to see his behavior around the pain and the pain cycle and how he was treating people around him. That is huge, absolutely huge, to think that chiropractic saved a marriage. And how many marriages do we save out there?
I know. And it's not even like that. That's the part, right? That's the part that isn't studyable. Like, how many lives have we saved? How many, I don't even necessarily want to go there, but like, how many more regulated nervous systems are there out there that are creating more even domestic peace, right, inside of their world? And so one of my family members right now is in a severe pain cycle. And I talk about it because I also went through not something exactly similar, but a pain cycle that lasted me like 8 solid months. And I was watching what it was doing, not just to my belly and to my hip, but to my brain. And the pain signals that we have in our body go to our brain, or the stress signals go back to our brain, and it literally signals the brain to put out more pain signals and more stress signals. And we flood with misalignments in our spine. It tells the brain to flood the body with stress chemicals because we're not safe. And we're not safe in not just there's somebody standing outside my door, kind of not safe, but like we're not safe to relax into our world because of torques and slips and trips and falls, but also road rage and our stress of our jobs and the chemical stresses and all the things. So that when you're talking about the spine and the cortisol, which a lot of people would maybe understand cortisol at this point, certain amount of cortisol gets us up and out of bed in the morning. That's okay. Excessive amounts of chronic cortisol leads to serious issues. So, and then it's like this catch-22 where the brain is like, well, we're not safe, let me put out more. Well, we're not safe, let me put out more. And now you got yourself a mess.
That the cortisol itself. So I think people just to, like you say, cortisol wakes us up. So let's just talk about cortisol for a minute, because I think cortisol gets demonized because it's, cortisol. High cortisol is bad. It causes you to gain weight. cortisol causes you to wake up in the morning, and then it decreases and it allows you to go to sleep at night because it decided to go away and melatonin came up. It also helps with inflammation in the body. It helps you sleep properly. I mean, cortisol is an amazing hormone. And the problem is that because when we would get chased by a tiger, we need that extra energy. So then cortisol goes up. We have to run to save our lives. But every day we are running from that tiger. And I actually had an incident over the weekend, Dr. Erica. I didn't share this with you. I was at my brother's house, and it made me think of all the people that this happens to. And then they're like, oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. Well, it started raining. I was in the house. We were at my brother's house for a party, and I had been floating in the lake for a couple of hours. So I said, I'm going to go take a shower, change my clothes before the fireworks. This is sort of like early afternoon. So I take a shower, and all of a sudden I hear like all these people in the house. And I look out the window and it is pouring rain. Meanwhile, all my other stuff, my purse, my blankets, everything was down. Everybody had all their stuff and nobody grabbed my stuff. So it got soaking wet. So I go out there, and I always travel with a wagon, and I pull the wagon up the hill, and I go to walk into the garage, and I'm in my bare feet. And as soon as my foot hit the concrete of the garage, I bit it, you guys, bit it. And I came down. I thought I was going to break an arm because I knew I had twisted my arm behind me, and I fell on a twisted arm. That is spiral fracture for most people with weak bones. And then something happened with all my other limbs, and I couldn't even tell you which direction everything went. Turns out I ended up breaking my toe.
Oh gosh.
So there's that. Then I go out onto the patio, and I see my brother, and he's like, what? And he's rushing around, and he steps on said broken toe. So talk about stress. Now, there's the stress of, okay, I fell. Thank God I'm okay. But then that physical stress, the neurological stress, the danger of that, like things happen in that moment to you metabolically, like stress hormone, because we're not supposed to fall like that.
Right.
But thank God, again, because of the strength and the flexibility of my body, that I didn't break more than a tiny toe. It still hurts like hell.
What toe is it?
It's my second to last toe on my right foot. It's horrible. But I've been using the laser on it, and it has helped miraculously. Yeah. Unfortunately, we can't adjust toes, but my body needs adjusting, because the next day I saw my family again, and my one brother, he said, how are you feeling today with that fall? And I said, actually, I feel fine. Like, I'm not as sore as I thought I was going to be. Everybody, every single one of you would walk away from that and go, I feel fine, and never do a thing about it. Well, right. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get to the chiropractor, but I'm scheduled to go on Saturday. So just like, that is a must. I don't care how fine you think you feel the next day after something like that. You must go get your nervous system regulated, because that was a surge of cortisol. Right. That affected my body in a way that I don't even know, because it's happening on a metabolic level. So we tend as humans to just walk away from those things and go, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm not taking a chance on that.
Yeah, no. Well, you would get your spine checked anyways, no matter what, whether you've had that or not. And I think about, so I had a young gal, she was a senior last year, and she came to me about a year ago in the fall sometime, and she was pulled out of her car by the jaws of life. And so it was right in front of the school too. And it was like a bunch of her friends pulled over as well. She got in a major car accident, but a bunch of her friends pulled over, and they were all like, oh my goodness, like, we definitely lost her. And I just think about, because she was in my office within 24 hours. And I just think about that young spine. And I say young just because I feel like we're all young, but anywhere like up to 25 is relatively young spine. She started taking care of that accident right away. We were seeing her 2 to 3 times a week. Then we started massage therapy maybe like 3 weeks in, because I like to give the body a chance to really get unwound with chiropractic. And I just think about that same spine, even though she was ripped out by the jaws of life, nothing was broken. And a lot of people have those situations like your fall, right? And you're like, whoa. And then I'm fine. I don't have a broken face. I didn't break any limbs. My pelvis is fine. You know what I mean? Then you just kind of walk away with the residuals of those misalignments, whiplash, all the things, right? And then now years later, there's situations that really start to get super chronic. So I would say anything like teenage sports and all of that, thank goodness we're seeing more and more young athletes, but it's all that stuff that wasn't taken care of is now flooding the body with the cortisol, and then they're going off to college and they're playing collegiate ball, and maybe they have a chiropractor on the team now, and so they're able to get some of it unwound while they're getting wound up and they're studying and all the things. And age 32, 35 through 50 is where we see a huge part of our base of patients is because of that, because of the trip, slips, falls, the falling 3,000 times,
Anything.
anything, all that stuff. But I was just thinking about this because I was driving home this past, was it Monday? Yeah, Monday in my vintage Volkswagen. And I was surfing. I left Oxford around 10 o'clock, 9:30. So it was getting dark, and I'm rolling into town. I'm going down the road towards my home from downtown Fenton. And there was a deer, like all of a sudden, right in the middle of the road. And everybody's had this experience before where you just get flooded with adrenaline, which is the cortisol, which is, you know what I mean? And so just thinking about that feeling and getting that completely flooding the system. So on big and small scales, we have that in our world, and it needs to be regulated through spinal care.
Well, one stressful event is enough to raise blood sugar for 2 weeks. So let's think about this.
Yeah.
So that stress and the cortisol, if you're running from the tiger, your body has to produce glycogen so that it can send that energy to your muscles so you can run or climb or whatever it is. And we have a colleague, and I can tell you offline, Erica, but we have a colleague whose daughter was in a very, very severe car accident 30 years, longer than 30 years ago, I'm sure. She was a teenager. And our colleague, the mom shows up at the scene, and her daughter's kind of like getting up off of the ground. And when she turns around, half of her face was torn off. And she has had multiple surgeries. Well, so our friend and colleague, you can't even imagine, like looking at your child with half of their face, that like skin hanging, all the things. And she became a diabetic almost immediately, type 1 diabetic. So think about that, the amount of that cortisol surge, the pancreatic stress that required, so she had this cortisol surge, blood sugar surge. The pancreas has to adapt to get the insulin, because insulin comes up and tries to balance the blood sugar, and it tanked out all the cells in the pancreas, and it couldn't keep up. And she became a freaking diabetic. That's how this thing works. And that is an extreme example. So when you have an event where you see a deer and you just go, oh, and you have the freak out for a moment and it's nothing catastrophic, go get adjusted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you don't want it to be the other way around,
Right. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I was just thinking about that because there's been like when some viruses, if your system is overloaded, some viruses have then led to an overburden of the system. And I know people that have gone also into type 1 from that as younger people, as kids, really. I mean, I know of at least 3 of between like 4 and 7 years old that came down with like a major severe virus, also with other stresses going on in their system. And, so the effects are, and that is a very interesting that it sticks around for 2 weeks. That is a very interesting fact, because there are also ways getting adjusted being one of them, also ways to help bring that cortisol level down. People walk out of here. I keep talking about that therapist over the last few weeks, and she walks out of here and she's like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that feeling is. I don't know what's going on. How does it do that? How does that adjustment that takes you minutes, how does it do that? How does it do that? How do I feel like that? Like the endorphins and the leveling of the cortisol, how does it do that? I love people's reaction too. And it makes it a really awesome career to have. It's the best ever.
And I think it was in last week's show, which we talked about this more than just last week, but when people get up off the table and they just immediately go, oh,
I know.
And they go, wow, I feel better already. All day long.
Yeah.
And it's really important. And I call it trauma dumping. I think you probably call it the same thing, that as soon as somebody comes in and they want to sit down in the chair and they want to tell you all the things, and you're like, and then I just sit and I wait and I just put my hand gently on their shoulder. And I don't want to be rude, and just sometimes I am. Sometimes I'm like, okay, because I know it's going to be something like, it's going to be just la 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 la. Yeah. But we know our patients enough to know, like, we know how to handle those situations. So we don't want to make anybody feel less than or diminished. However, we do make sure that you understand the importance of, when you sit in that chair, it is our job to make sure that we're helping you regulate and allowing you to sit down. And I say sit in the chair. I adjust in the chair. I think you adjust seated mostly too. Mm-hmm, so so let's just say for other chiropractors, when you get on the table, if we don't say to you, take a deep breath. I need you to stop talking. I need you to just rest. I need you to think happy thoughts. It's our job to help you understand how to regulate. It's not our job to allow you to sit down on the table and go, because you know what you're doing? You're doing that out there all day long. Mm. You get to come in here and we get to give you that moment of peace and calm. And I don't think I've ever had anybody tell me that I was rude saying that to them, because they know. Yeah.
No, and hope too. Like, we are one of the most, and so thank you. They should, you wouldn't follow because we're so chipper. And there was these ladies are always so cheerful. So because we do the work we do all day long, we also get helped by, when I tell my patients, take a big deep breath, I'm also taking a big deep breath, because I don't know how to say take a big deep breath without also taking a big deep breath. But also, like you said, it's out there, out beyond these four walls. The world can take you for a ride if you let it. If you can't really get a grasp, or it's overwhelming, or there's too much going on, it can totally take you for a ride. When you're in our four walls, it is our job to just say, okay, we get it. This is going to just help you bring your nervous system down. It's going to expand your bandwidth. You're going to walk out of here in just a few short minutes, not because we're fast, not because we're rushing, not because you're in an assembly line, because that's all it takes. And when you can add one adjustment to the other and you start getting this repeat, we can completely rewire this stress adaptation that you've gotten yourself into. So whatever fires together, when you got that stress, we're making a deep, deep groove of neurons that are fired and wired together for stress. That's why we see you more frequently up front. And that's why we want you to continue to tend to yourself, because people walk in our office, I got this shoulder thing, I've got this hip thing. We get it. Face down, you're going to feel better. Will your shoulder thing go away? Depends on what brought it on. We don't have buttons to push. We're getting your body into safety and regulation and out of just back into vagal tone. And, we can talk fad vagus tone for however we've been talking this for 131 years. That's what we do. So we always love you guys showing up and listening to this message, because it's way beyond the typical neck, back, headache stuff. And we're very good at that as well.
Yeah, I was working with a patient this morning. She might be watching this today, but she's coming in just for, she came in for functional medicine, but I think we're going to end up with chiropractic too, because she has a hiatal hernia. And without going too deeply into that, I feel like that's a whole nother episode. But the whole point is that she's had digestive issues. She's like 70 something, tons of energy, but she's had digestive issues, constipation most of her life. And then it was like, then this thing, and then that thing. And then she gets these bumps on her tongue and she doesn't know where that comes from. And then her doctor told her she needed to start taking this vitamin, her eye doctor, that started taking this vitamin because of her eyes and this and that. Anyway, so we start going through it. And I said, here's the thing. You aren't an eye. You aren't a tongue. You aren't a gut. You aren't a colon. You are the whole thing. I'm not here to cherry pick pieces and parts. And I said, society has conditioned each and every one of us to look at our bodies as pieces and parts, to just reduce us down to the least common denominator. And as chiropractors, we have a full understanding that if we don't look at you holistically, what are we doing? If you come in and I only look at your shoulder, but it's upper cervical or an occipital misalignment, there's a nerve called spinal accessory nerve, and it comes from up here and it goes into the shoulder and it goes back up to the neck. And if that is out of alignment, it puts stress on the spinal accessory nerve, which diminishes its ability to move the shoulder. This is frozen shoulder. Frozen shoulder is not a shoulder. It's an occiput issue, you guys. So if you know people who have frozen shoulder, tell them to get to the chiropractor immediately, because they need their occiput released in order to fix that darn shoulder. So it goes far beyond that.
I was talking to a patient this morning, and while I was off, so I took Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday morning off this week, just for a little like extended weekend, just kind of a break before the second part of the year. And while I was in on Tuesday, I stopped in. My office manager said, "Can you write this patient a script for low back x-rays?" And I'm like, happily, they'll go down the street there. She's like, she's just in so much pain she wants to see. And she's been under care for years, except for 6 months out of the year, she's down in Florida. And it's very difficult to find proper chiropractic care that aligns with what we're doing, because it's Florida. It's a different population down there. So anyway, she came in today and she's like, okay, she said, I said, "Did you get your x-rays?" "Yes, I went to this other spot. I didn't take your script." I'm like, "Well, if you took the script and you went to the place, I would already have your x-rays back." But she went this roundabout way, which is fine. I'll get them eventually. I'm not worried about my adjustments though, of like not having this x-ray, because I've been adjusting her all along. She says to me, "I looked this up and I think it's a pinched nerve." Yep. That's what we're working on. Well, you said it was also disc involved. I said, yep. So it's disc involved because when you go to sneeze or cough or bear down to use the bathroom, it's giving you interthecal pressure, which is creating a sensory or a mechanical situation that's creating sensory situation of a nerve being not having the right amount of space it's supposed to have. But that's the disc pushing into the hole where the nerve's coming out. And guess what else? It's also bones, because the bones are and guess what else? It's also muscle, because the muscle is what's surrounding. Guess what else? It's also fascia. Like, it's the whole system. It's always the whole thing. And it's always the body is keeping score. Yes, I understand you're in a lot of pain. I do understand that. And I do also understand that you've had 6 months of not care, and then you come back and you also had all the things. It's muscle, it's nerve, it's bones, it's all of it. And we do not look at the body in parts and pieces. And it was just I was like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. And then she's like, well, I'm like, yeah, because that's then this layer and then this layer and then this layer. I'm like, it's the whole shoot. It's the whole shooting match, people. Get
Yeah.
your behind to the chiropractor no matter what.
And the frustration behind that is just the frustration that
Yeah.
I am feeling from what you're saying, is that people will come in and they'll go, yeah, okay, a pinched nerve, or I went to they will tell us they went somewhere else only after they've gone somewhere else. They don't ask us, do you think I should follow up with a whatever? And listen, if we think you should, we will tell you, yes, you should go. And so, they'll come in and they'll say, well, I went to my primary and he told me I have arthritis. Yes, you have arthritis.
Yeah,
like you
we
do.
already
Like
know that.
I said, and I don't often say arthritis. Now I make this big deal of it. And I will say, you have degeneration in your spine and it's putting stress on the discs and the nerves, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll say, most people will call that arthritis. I'm going to use that word here, but it's going to be temporary. You're not going to hear me use it again, because in that world out there, there's nothing you can do about it and you feel hopeless. In this world in here under chiropractic care, when we create better balance, we create better structure, we create better neurological signaling, your body will function better. And arthritis slows down because it's like not rotating tires on your car. If you don't rotate them, they're going to blow out and wear out faster. We are improving alignment so that everything around it functions better. Yes, you have arthritis. And the fact that, we have to go around and around to have that conversation, and then go, and don't ask me about it again, and don't ever say that word again, because I don't want you wearing it like a badge of honor.
Yeah, for sure. Or my arthritis, right? But it's like,
oh, right, yeah.
If you have lived a certain amount of years, and sometimes it's even younger, our bodies react to our world, and arthritis is all it's done is there's extra stress in this spot, and Wolff's Law, look it up, turn up your hearing aids and then look up Wolff's Law. Wolff's Law says where there's more stress, lay down stronger structure. So Wolff's Law will say where there's more stress on this soft tissue, lay down some calcium, please. I need a stronger bridge. And when you start to rebalance the body and that stress comes off of that spot, Wolff's Law also says it will also reduce the structure there because it no longer needs it. It's like just building stronger bridges, because now you have, bigger, stronger, whatever, semi trucks going over a bridge that there used to be a biking bridge, you know what I mean? Or whatever. That's the difference. Look up Wolff's Law, and actually small ways we start to reduce the arthritic, because arthritis is an itis just means inflammation of an arthro is joint. So reduce the inflammation and you're going to be way better off. But the word arthritis out there will make you go look for Celebrex. It'll make you go look for whatever the next blah, blah. It'll make you go look for a cortisone injection. It'll make you go and look for these things. And that right there is called cultural hypnosis. They've gotten so deeply into your brain where you need to move your body, drink your water, handle your stress, get off your phone, manage your sleep, positive mental attitude, and get adjusted. It's just how it goes. There's no other way around it.
So I love that. Yeah, drop the mic on that.
Easily, like, you want a real solution to your pain? Go get some meds. That's not going to solve. That's going to be a solution to your pain, but that's not going to solve and resolve what's going on that's creating that. It's just taking a piece of electrical tape, put it right over your check engine light. We're not doing
understanding too that with Wolff's Law, because it has taken so long to remodel, and my patients will say to me, can we make it go away? And I will often say, listen, if I take an X-ray a year from now, I'm not going to see these bone spurs go away. It took years to get here, and I will never make it look pretty again. It's going to look like this till the day you die, because you're 60 years old, and took 60 years to get here. It's not we don't have enough time to get it to unremodel completely. But that's why we focus on that neurological aspect. And Wolff's Law is happening microscopically. So you have to just understand that, and on a microscopic cellular level, that you are making progress, that things are improving, and the function of that joint and the function of those nerves is really our overall goal. I don't care about making it look pretty again. I care about function at this point.
So the other part too is when we say arthritis, that will stick around, and also like Dr. Paula said, it's your neurology that will be healthier. And also, arthritis does not mean symptoms. It doesn't mean that. It just is something that is going on. It doesn't mean it's you guys, it's exhausting. It really is, to try to keep sharing these messages with that, like you said, was it Tio Mimo, the indoctrination, the cultural hypnosis that's gone on because Big Pharma has big dollars and they're sitting on your screens everywhere you look. Turn them off. Turn them off. People say, did you watch a such and such show and this and that? I'm like, no, because I refuse to listen to the other stuff that comes up on the screen. I refuse to listen to it. I can't do this work all day long for 21 years and go home and listen to the BS being spewed through. And especially because it's usually at the end of the day, we take our conscious mind off and it just goes right in. It's programming. It's programming.
And I'm going to go back to when you say you can't afford to go to the chiropractor. 2 recent examples of 2 women who I've had personal conversations with. They are highly stressed moms of young kids who are both, they both have some pretty good health issues underlying, the kind that Dr. Erica and I will see 10, 20, 30 years from now that could be something worse than what they are. It's very correctable at this point in time. Both of them, one's getting laser hair removal, spending money. And they both have said they can't afford to come to me because they can't afford to come to me. They don't have money. But one of them's getting laser hair removal and the other one is getting Botox. What? Do you guys know how expensive laser hair removal is? And it's not permanent. It is not permanent. And of course, Botox, that's what you're going to spend your money on that, but not getting your health on track, and then go around saying you can't afford things. And this is what makes me cuckoo crazy, is that don't tell me you can't afford to get healthy when you're doing stuff like that. Yeah, period.
I totally
I can't.
You can't walk around with your hair done and your face and your skin looking good. And you can actually make all of that come from the inside instead of having to do those outside in procedures. You guys see both of us. We are that. I mean, let's just talk about, I mean, Dr. Paula has 10 years on me and she looks amazing, and she could keep up with, she'll run most people, run circles around them, truly.
Going into the 6th decade of life, you guys. Yeah. I don't know too many people with skin like this. And over the weekend, I got to spend it with 2 aunts and an uncle. My uncle's 95. My aunt is 92. And my other aunt is in her 80s. She's not quite given it up. You would never, ever know the vibrancy, the brightness in their eyes and their face and their personalities and their mobility. I mean, it's ridiculous. So yes, I look at my genetic path and I'm fortunate. I'm also not going to live any other way that doesn't take me down that path.
Oh, right. So, for sure. Yeah. No, I mean, there's so many things that we can do, and get to your chiropractic office, you guys. Just
get on it.
Do it. Figure out a way to make it work. Figure out how you can make it work for. Then people say, for how long? I'm like, for the rest of your life.
Forever. Yeah.
Forever. For the rest of your life. Yeah.
And somebody earlier commented, but then it comes back. Yeah, you're going to go out and you're going to life. You don't just go eat one healthy meal and then say, I'm good. Oh, there's all this other unhealthy stuff out here that I can't go eat another healthy meal. No. You have to make a concerted effort every day. Being healthy is work. But once you have that established and your foundation is there, it's no longer work. It does take a little while, like that patient who said, wow, this is a lot. Yeah. If you've never lived this way, it's going to feel like a lofty lift, but you can do it. You can absolutely do it. And it is my Mediterranean diet. Go watch the interview I did with Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, who challenged me on that, who insisted my family needed to be vegan. And I asked him about the Mediterranean diet, and he said, it's killing you slowly. And I was like, really? So I should go tell all my aunts and uncles that they should be vegans? Yeah, that was a fun interview. That was a really fun interview. Anyway, okay. All right, you guys, amazing. Thank you so much for all of your interactions and your engagement. Once again, you will be much healthier if you subscribe and if you like, and you share here every day, and you share. Yeah. Sharing for sure. So thanks everybody for being here. Have an incredible day. If you like this episode, make sure you tag somebody for next week. All righty. We'll see you guys soon. Love y'all for being here. Thank you.